Gut health has never been more topical, and words such as microbiome get bounced around a lot these days. Keeping your gut in good shape is super important to boost your immunity, your mood, and reduce inflammation. You may have heard of prebiotics and probiotics, and they are both equally important in keeping your gut happy and feeding those good bacteria that keep the whole thing in shape. Prebiotics are mostly resistant starches and soluble fibres, and they basically get the party started. They get fermented in the large intestine or the colon by the gut bacteria. Some of the foods that you actually might find those in are things like the green bananas. Unusual, but super green is really good. Cashew nuts are also really rich in resistant starch, and also the raw oats as opposed to cooked oats. Probiotics are a little bit different. They introduce that healthy bacteria into your gut. But there are some foods that are rich in probiotics, and one of these is kefir. Kefir is a really interesting thing because the best way to get the grains is actually from a family member or a friend who might have some growing at home. These guys are actually 10 years old, and my friend Roberta gifted these to me, which is pretty special. I've grabbed a little bit out of the jar very carefully because they're quite precious, but that's the best way to actually get them. To get your kefir grains started, you actually need a jar of a decent sort of size. And when you take delivery of those kefir grains, they will be a little bit solid. So just remember that when you put them into the jar, they look a little bit different. So once they're in the jar, then you add a little bit of milk or coconut water, depending on which one you actually have, just to cover them. Over the next 24 hours, the kefir grains multiply and they get fermented by the microorganisms, and that actually produces the kefir liquid. Then we sieve the liquid, remove the grains, and repeat this on a daily basis. Kefir liquid that remains is actually quite sour. It's nice by itself, but you can also use it in pancakes or in a smoothie, whatever you prefer.